Have you ever felt like your mind can't stop spinning, even in the quietest hours of the night? Those nights when, no matter how hard you try, you can't escape the thoughts that insist on invading your mind? You are not alone. The truth is that the mind often tries to stay active, even when the body asks for rest. But what if there was a way to harness the power of dark nights, transforming the darkness into a haven of calm and renewal? The good news is that this power is within your reach. Instead of fearing the darkness of the night, we can learn to use it to our advantage. Deep meditations which lead us along this path of silence and introspection can be the key to unlocking deep, restorative sleep. Darkness, far from being a place of fear or uncertainty, can become a welcoming space where heavy thoughts are left behind and the body finds true calm. In this text, we will explore how we can transform the night, often seen as the end of a cycle, into a point of renewal. With guided meditation practices, we can learn to let go of what holds us back, cultivate confidence, and create an internal space of light, where wisdom and tranquility reign. In the end, you will realize that sleeping is not just a physical act, but an inner journey where transformation and acceptance go hand in hand. Are you ready to discover the magic of dark nights? Meditation begins by inviting us to surrender to the dark, but not the dark that scares us, but rather the dark that welcomes us. It is in the deep silence of the night that we can find true peace. When we close our eyes, the darkness around us is no longer a void, but a fertile space, where we can let go of all the tensions accumulated throughout the day. Imagine darkness as a soft blanket that surrounds us with affection and security, like a shelter that welcomes us when we need it most. As we allow ourselves to immerse ourselves in this darkness, we begin to realize that we are not alone, but surrounded by a calm, almost mystical energy that guides us. This dive into the dark is like an invitation to slow down. It's not about running away from the light, but learning to live with it in a more conscious way. In the calm of the dark, we can hear our own thoughts in a different way without the distractions of the outside world. It is here, in this space of recollection, that we can access a deeper level of serenity. We may even feel a connection to something greater that is beyond our immediate understanding. With each breath, the dark seems to become more welcoming, safer, and gradually we can relax even more. It's interesting to see how the dark also teaches us about trust. The confidence that even though we can't see everything around us, we are still safe. When we surrender to this feeling of acceptance, we begin to understand that true fear does not come from the darkness itself, but from our resistance to it. With each step toward this space of peace, we can feel an emotional release, as if we are finally allowing the weights and worries to dissolve. The dark becomes fertile ground for detachment and transformation. This process of immersion in darkness reminds us of how cyclical life is. Just as night follows day, darkness is part of a natural cycle which also includes light. Meditation teaches us to accept and even value these cycles. In moments of darkness, we can find wisdom, and it is in this state that we are most able to let go of what holds us back from growing. We surrender to the darkness, trusting that it will bring clarity as we open to it, as the earth welcomes the seed that, with patience, will one day flower. Ultimately, as we delve into this space of darkness, we become more aware of our own inner process. Silence becomes a powerful ally, and darkness, a metaphor for the transformations that take place in our soul. When we surrender to the embrace of the night, we begin to realize that just as the stars appear in the darkness, we too have light within us waiting to shine. It is a reminder that in every cycle of our lives, there is always room for renewal and growth. In meditation, we are invited to imagine ourselves as a seed resting in the dark, fertile earth. This image brings us a feeling of renewal, as if we were in a state of rest necessary for our own internal regeneration. The salmon corn or seed represents potential, the promise of something great that will, at some point, be revealed. It is small, apparently insignificant, but it carries within it the ability to grow, to transform into a strong and fruitful tree. In the dark of the earth, the seed is already beginning to prepare to sprout without rushing, just waiting for the right moment. This symbolism reminds us that the process of growth, both in the physical and spiritual worlds, happens in silence and often in the shadows. When we think of the seed, the first image that comes to mind may be of something fragile, but in reality, it contains an invisible strength. Meditation invites us to trust this process, even if we cannot see or understand the full development that is taking place. In the same way that the seed grows without haste, we must learn to trust the natural rhythm of our own evolution. By focusing on this seed symbolism, we can also reflect on the seeds of wisdom we have planted in our lives. Every thought, every attitude, every small action we take has the potential to germinate into something bigger. It's interesting to think about our mind as a fertile soil, where the ideas and feelings we cultivate have the power to flourish. Sometimes we may not realize it, but we are always sowing something in our lives, be it a new idea, a new habit, or even a new vision about ourselves. Meditation practice is an opportunity to notice these inner seeds and nurture what we want to see grow in our lives. Darkness, contrary to what we often imagine, is the space where these seeds develop most deeply. Without distracting light, we can focus on what really matters, allowing change to happen in its own time. When a seed finally sprouts, it surprises us with its strength, and thus, inner transformation also occurs, often gradually, until we realize how much we have already evolved. Finally, when reflecting on the symbolism of the seed, we can find strength and patience. What grows, whether in us or in the world around us, needs time. The important thing is to maintain the confidence that, even in the quietest and darkest phases of life, we are just germinating into something new and great. Each moment of introspection and reflection is an opportunity to strengthen our inner roots and prepare ourselves to flourish when the right time arrives. The seed is the promise of a new cycle, and it reminds us that the transformation process is never rushed, but rather gradual and profound. The focus of meditation at this time is on the power of our own breathing. With each inhale, we feel life entering us, filling our lungs and mind with renewing energy. With each exhale, we are invited to let go of the weight of the worries, stresses, and strains of the day. Breathing deeply and consciously helps us return to our center, to reconnect with what really matters. At the same time, it allows us to relax, as if each exhalation was an opportunity to release the emotional burdens that we have carried over time. This simple gesture of breathing can be a powerful way of welcoming ourselves, creating an internal space of calm and confidence. The act of breathing deeply has something magical about it. He reminds us that we are often so caught up in the demands of everyday life that we forget to simply stop and breathe. However, when we pay attention to this natural process, we realize that each breath is a chance for renewal. Breathing is not just a biological need but a mindfulness practice, a way of grounding ourselves in the present here and now. Breathing not only brings clarity but also teaches us about the power of detachment. When we exhale, we let go of everything that no longer serves us, everything that holds us back, allowing the space to become lighter. This practice of breathing guides us throughout the transformation process. Just like a leaf falling off a tree, we must learn to let go of everything that does not contribute to our growth. The process of releasing tensions and fears is a form of internal acceptance. The body often carries not only physical but also emotional fatigue. By breathing deeply, we are able to detoxify our being of everything that prevents us from living with more freedom and peace. And it is in this moment of letting go that we find true transformation. The body loosens up, the mind calms down, and the soul finds a lighter path. To start practicing this breathing technique, you can simply find a quiet, comfortable place. Close your eyes, inhale slowly, feeling the air enter your nostrils and fill your body. Hold for a moment, and as you exhale, imagine that you are releasing any negative thoughts or tension that you have built up. Repeat this cycle a few times, allowing each breath to take you deeper into this peaceful state. There is no rush. The important thing is to be present and trust that with each breath, you are taking a step towards your own tranquility. Over time, you will notice that this practice becomes an always available resource. In moments of anxiety, stress, or restlessness, simply stop, breathe, and let go. Breathing becomes a constant reminder that true peace is always within our reach. By integrating these breaks into your daily life, you begin to feel a change in your emotional state. More serenity and confidence, as if you had discovered a hidden power within you. And it is with this restored calm that we move towards the next steps of our transformation process. During meditation, we visualize a large, ancient tree with deep roots that spread across the earth. This is not just any tree, but a golden tree, radiating soft and welcoming light. She is the representation of our own potential for inner wisdom, the silent strength that is always available to us, even when we don't see it. With each breath, we feel this energy expand, connecting us with the ancestral wisdom that lives in our being. The roots of this tree are not only physical but also spiritual, representing the pillars of our trust and our connection with the universe. By anchoring ourselves in these roots, we are able to feel the firmness and stability necessary to face life's challenges. This golden tree is not only a representation of strength, but also of welcome and comfort. Each leaf that sways in the wind seems to bring a message of tranquility, as if the tree itself were saying you are safe here now. When visualizing this tree, we begin to understand that within us there is an inexhaustible source of wisdom, often hidden by the rush of everyday life. But when we connect with it, we feel a sense of peace and understanding that goes beyond the intellect. It's an intuitive wisdom, a feeling of knowing without knowing, as if all the answers were already within us, waiting to be discovered. The golden tree also teaches us about patience and resilience. Just like her, we go through seasons of life, some more fertile, others drier, but the essence of the tree remains intact. The golden light that emanates from it is a reflection of our own potential to overcome obstacles and find clarity in moments of confusion. When we feel lost, this tree becomes a beacon of light, guiding us back to our inner truth. And by visualizing it frequently, we can cultivate a sense of belonging and trust, as if we were always being guided by greater wisdom. The most beautiful thing about this golden tree is that it doesn't demand anything from us. She simply exists with her serene and welcoming presence, and offers us the opportunity to connect with something greater than ourselves. It doesn't matter if we are in a moment of calm or turbulence. This tree is always available to help us find balance. And by being connected with it, we come to understand that true strength is not in controlling everything around us, but in trusting the wisdom that arises from within. The golden tree reminds us that we are stronger than we imagine and that true transformation comes from within, from a place of balance and connection with our essence. When we are in difficult times, we can simply close our eyes and visualize this golden tree. Imagining it with its deep roots, its soft light and its welcome helps us feel safer and more confident. And so, by integrating this powerful image into our meditative practice, we become more aware of the strength and wisdom that have always been present within us, waiting for the right moment to blossom. At this moment in meditation, we are invited to visualize a golden path that opens up in front of us. This path is not just any trail, but an illuminated, smooth and welcoming road that invites us to move towards our interior. Each step taken along this path brings us closer to a deeper connection with ourselves. As we walk, we feel the soft light that surrounds us, as if the universe itself is guiding us. The path is not straight or predictable, but it has its curves and surprises like the journey of life itself. And although the future is uncertain, we can walk with confidence, knowing that this light will always be there to guide us. The feeling when walking along this golden path is one of welcome and serenity. Each step is an opportunity to connect more deeply with our essence. It's not about reaching a specific destination, but about the experience of walking, discovery, and self-knowledge. The path teaches us that the journey itself has more value than the final goal. As we move forward, we feel like each step is confirmation that we are exactly where we need to be. The light that illuminates the path gives us the confidence to follow, even when the road becomes a little darker or more tortuous. This golden path also symbolizes the process of inner transformation. Just as light dispels darkness, it also illuminates the parts of ourselves that were in shadow, those we may have neglected or feared facing. However, as we walk this enlightened path, we are invited to look at these parts with compassion and acceptance, knowing that they are part of who we are. Light is not an aggressive presence, but a soft light that reveals without rushing what we need to see to grow. It allows us to face our fears and limitations with confidence, knowing that with each step we are becoming more whole. As we follow the path, we may notice a growing sense of pleasure and inner joy. What once seemed distant or unattainable begins to seem closer and more real. The golden path reminds us that, despite the challenges life may present us, there is always an inner strength capable of guiding us back to our truth. The light that accompanies us is, in fact, the expression of our own inner wisdom, the one that emerges when we stop to listen to the silent voice that guides us towards our purpose. Finally, upon reaching the end of this golden path, we realize that there is no end in fact, but just a new phase of this journey. The path does not end, it transforms. And as we walk through it, we discover that we are not alone. We are always guided by a light that lives within us, a light that never goes out and that accompanies us in every moment of life. The golden path is a metaphor for the trust we must cultivate in our own growth process. It teaches us to walk with faith and gratitude, as along the journey we learn to trust that we are exactly where we need to be. In the meditative process, we are invited to visualize our heaviest thoughts as small stones that we carry in our hands. The idea of releasing these stones is a gesture of freedom. By letting them fall in the dark, deep into the earth, we free ourselves from the weight that these ideas and concerns cause us. We often find ourselves stuck in thoughts that do not contribute to our well-being, as if they were constantly hovering around our minds. But by visualizing these thoughts as rocks, we can create distance between ourselves and them, allowing us to release them without needing to carry them. The practice of letting go begins precisely with this visualization. Imagine that, with each heavy thought, you are placing a stone in your hands. Now imagine yourself walking into the darkness and, with a simple movement, letting these stones fall gently. The dark earth receives them, and with that, they disappear, transforming into something that no longer belongs to us. This is the magic of detachment. It's not about denying our feelings or emotions, but about allowing them to run their course, without needing to carry them for longer than necessary. By doing this, we begin to realize that our mind can be lighter, freer. This practice of letting go of heavy thoughts teaches us about the true nature of our being. We are more than our worries and anxieties. We often become so identified with our thoughts that we end up forgetting that we are the observers of them, not the thoughts themselves. By letting go of the stones, we distance ourselves from our mind and create space for new possibilities. Inner silence then begins to take over. There is no longer the incessant noise of worries, but a space of calm and clarity, where we can hear our inner voice more easily. It is essential that, when practicing this exercise, we are kind to ourselves. Letting go does not mean eliminating everything at once, but rather allowing the process to happen in its own time. It's not always easy, and some stones can be harder to loosen than others. But with practice, we begin to realize that each time we let go of these stones, we are closer to our true essence, closer to a more peaceful and serene life. The simple act of releasing tension and negative thinking is a form of self-care, of embracing ourselves. The practice of letting go is also deeply connected to trust. By letting go of negative thoughts, we are trusting that we can create a space of peace within ourselves, a space where we can simply be. This is an exercise in emotional self-sufficiency. We learn that we do not need to depend on our thoughts or external circumstances to find serenity. By letting go of what weighs us down, we open the way for the light of peace and gratitude to enter our lives more fully. In meditation, we are invited to reflect on the cycles of nature as a profound representation of the cycles of life. Nature, with its seasons, teaches us that there are times for growth, rest, renewal, and transformation. Just as the earth goes through winter and spring, our lives also follow these cycles, with periods of stillness, where it seems like nothing happens, and periods of flourishing where everything reveals itself. When we stop to observe the rhythm of nature, we realize that nothing is rushed and everything follows its time, in a harmonious and balanced flow. This cycle is a great lesson in trust. Winter, with its silence and darkness, is often interpreted as a time of stagnation, but in reality, it is a time of preparation. The seeds are quiet in the earth, waiting for the right moment to sprout. Winter teaches us that sometimes we need to slow down, collect our thoughts and energies, so that we can flourish with strength when the time comes. This period of withdrawal, often seen as a challenge, is in fact an opportunity for internal reconfiguration. Likewise, our minds and hearts need moments of rest, where we don't need to do anything, just exist, just like the earth in winter. With the arrival of spring, we see the transformation. The seeds germinate, the buds emerge, and nature comes to life again. This moment symbolizes renewal, the flowering of ideas and creativity. Just like nature, we also have our growth cycles. Sometimes our ideas or projects enter periods of stillness, where we don't see immediate results. However, it is in this winter time that the true transformation is taking place invisibly. When spring arrives in our lives, we are surprised by the flowering of what we sowed in moments of calm and confidence. Natural cycles remind us that life is not linear but cyclical, and each cycle has its beauty and importance. It doesn't matter if we are living through a personal winter where things seem slow or difficult, we know that spring will come with its light and renewal. Trusting the cycles of life means understanding that we are always changing, whether in moments of expansion or moments of introspection. Just like nature, we also have phases in which we are more visible and others in which we are more reclusive, but all of these phases are essential for our evolution. Meditation offers us an opportunity to align with these natural cycles. By practicing it, we can learn to recognize and respect our own internal rhythms. There is no rush to be at any specific stage in life. It is enough to be attentive to the present moment, accepting where we are and trusting the process. Like the seasons, our lives go through several transformations, and they are all part of a broader journey. When we learn to trust the cycle of life, we are able to live it with more peace, gratitude, and lightness. In meditation, we are often guided to repeat affirmations or mantras, and this practice has a profound transformative power. Words, spoken repeatedly, have the ability to penetrate our minds in a gentle but effective way. By repeating phrases like "I am welcomed" or "I am exactly where I am supposed to be," we connect with the power of trust and acceptance. Repeating a mantra is not just a relaxation technique, but a way to program our mind for peace, gratitude, and serenity. Over time, these words become part of our essence, helping us overcome the limitations we create within ourselves. What makes mantras so powerful is their simplicity. They don't require intellectual understanding, just trust and intention. By repeating these phrases, we begin to feel a deep change within us. It's not about convincing our rational mind, but about letting the heart absorb these words. Affirmations repeated with intention have the power to transform our perception, replacing negative thoughts with messages of acceptance, gratitude, and wisdom. By repeating these words, we enter a state of greater connection with our own truth, aligning our mind and heart. Repetition also has the effect of anchoring us in the present. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by distractions, the mantra becomes a point of focus that brings us back to our essence. When we feel lost or disconnected, the simple, powerful words of a mantra help us remember who we are and what's important. With each repetition, we become more connected to our inner being, calmer and more centered. This does not mean that all problems disappear, but that we can face difficulties with a sense of balance and clarity. This practice is especially useful in times of uncertainty. When anxiety or fear arises, the repeated words of a mantra can be the anchor we need to return to our inner calm. Over time, these words begin to form part of our identity, bringing us a feeling of security, as if we were always being supported by something greater. They remind us that we are constantly evolving and that everything we need is within us: confidence, wisdom, and light. Incorporating mantras into meditation is a practice that, when done consistently, goes beyond the meditative moment. By using affirmations throughout the day, we can create a continuous state of peace and self-confidence. Words become powerful tools for transformation because they connect us with our true essence. And when repeated with intention, they can help us live with more calm, gratitude, and awareness. As you explore the magic of dark nights and delve into a deep sleep meditation, you begin to realize that true rest goes beyond the simple act of falling asleep. Sleeping well is not just a physical break, but a reunion with your essence. Each time you practice this meditation, you are allowing yourself an inner renewal, where darkness transforms into a safe space of acceptance and wisdom. Now, I invite you to reflect how many thoughts or worries are occupying your mental space right now. What if you could let them go one by one, just like the stones that fall in the darkness? What would it be like to allow yourself to truly rest, trusting the transformation process that happens while you sleep? The practice of night meditation is an invitation for you to stop fighting the night and start aligning yourself with it, recognizing it as an ally in your growth and well-being. Remember, the path to a peaceful night starts within you. With each breath, you are opening yourself to calm, trust, and serenity. Allow yourself to live the night with gratitude, knowing that each cycle brings with it the opportunity for a new beginning. No matter how your day has been, the night is always a chance to start over. Now, I invite you to take the next step on this journey. Start applying deep meditation for sleep today and feel the transformations in your life. And if you like this content, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here we will continue to explore practices that will bring more peace, balance, and light to your life.